The Greater Boston Peace Action Coalition needs volunteers to help build the April 24th anti-war demonstration in Washington, D.C. Volunteers are needed to leaflet, help out in the office, and sell buttons to help fund transportation to and from Washington. For more information, call 661-1090 or come to 15 Cellar Street in Central Square. That's 661-1090 or 15 Cellar Street in Central Square. You're needed.
We'll have the news coming up in about 5 minutes. Danny was out covering things, so we'll have late reports on late-breaking developments, as it were. Johnny Shines, the first thing. Johnny Shines, who played with Robert Johnson for a few years, and that kind of makes him almost the status of a national monument, those few people that knew Robert Johnson, because he was flatly incredible. And it's just too bad he never lived to get the recognition he deserves. So coming down through Johnny Shines, we get a little bit of that power. Evil-Hearted Woman, Santana's Black Magic Woman, which they got from Fleetwood Mac, and Django Reinhardt. That was Larry Adler on the harmonica. I got rhythm. You ready, Danny?
Ready.
Oh, okay. We'll have the news right now. This is WBCN in Boston, by the way.
Jim's head is always bigger than mine, every day. And it's hard for me to put these earphones on sometimes. In the news right now, police in Boston got orders this morning to halt an anti-war demonstration after incidents involving passer-bys occurred. About 30 Vietnam veterans carrying toy M16 rifles and in full fatigues stalked across City Hall Plaza in a mock search and destroy mission. City officials who had granted a permit for the protest ordered police to halt the activity, which had been staged quietly. A passerby, however, got in a fight with several demonstrators, and a woman spectator became hysterical. About a half an hour ago, the veterans held a simple ceremony which involved destroying several of the toy rifles, and then they heard a short announcement by a leader of the group and a talk by Father Drinan, a Newton congressman.
Hard. Break. Hard. One more thing. Some of the testimony that you'll hear today is a part of some 1,000 pages of testimony that was read into the congressional record on the 6th and 7th of this month. If you write your congressman, write your senator, or write the United States government printing office and ask for a copy of the congressional record of the 6th and 7th of April, there's 1,000 pages of direct first-person testimony of Vietnam veterans as to what is occurring every day in Vietnam. I think you owe it to yourself to read that firsthand.
Introduce Reverend Robert Drinan, who's a congressman from the 3rd District in Newton. Would like to say a few words about what's going on in Washington. Father Drinan.
Vietnam veterans against the war, and ladies and gentlemen who desire peace. I commend, I admire, and I endorse the Vietnam veterans against the war. And I hope that they will have a very significant national, international impact next Monday, April 19th, when they are in Washington. This is unprecedented in all of American history. When you have a group of veterans coming back from a war, 1,000 strong, telling all of us as citizens not to go forward with this war because it's immoral and illegal. I think that we should seal our consciences and recognize that this unprecedented event should make us force the Congress to turn this country around.
That was Congressman Drinan about a half an hour ago in Government Center speaking to Vietnam veterans against the war. WBCN spoke with a number of the veterans, and we'll have a fuller report on today's protest on the 6 o'clock news. In other news developments, Britain and the People's Republic of China have agreed to reopen telephone service, which was suspended in 1949. In Moscow, the Literary Gazette, which often has led the polemics against China, printed today only a roundup of carefully selected comments by foreign newspapers on the visit of a U.S. table tennis team to China. The team members and newsmen met in Peking today with Premier Zhou Enlai. Zhou spoke of more exchanges of visits between the two countries. He also told the Associated Press's John Roderick that more U.S. newsmen will be admitted to China. He also hinted he'd like to visit North America. The Premier of the People's Republic discussed the U.S. hippie movement with a young, long-haired member of the U.S. team. He said young persons must be allowed their search. He said youth should always try to find something in common with the great majority. In Washington, AFL-CIO President George Meany has attacked President Nixon's latest inflation alert. He says Nixon's economic policies the past 2 years have been, in Meany's words, a complete, absolute, miserable failure. Yesterday, the White House said that if the United Steelworkers Union settlement in the can industry is extended to the 450,000 steel industry workers, it would be harmful to the economy. Meany says the inflation alert could point to an attempt to impose a compulsory steel industry settlement. And finally, for now, Democratic Senator Edmund Muskie of Maine says the FBI conducted massive spying operations on 40 to 60 of last year's Earth Day anti-pollution rallies. In a Senate speech, Muskie said there is no justification for the federal intelligence community observing and reporting on legitimate political events which do not affect national security or potential crime. That's news. We'll have more at 6.